Naturally, we're not built to work in offices and, sleep on super luxurious beds. And, we're built to be hunters and gatherers. The ability to just for a brief moment reconnect with what you were intended to do, it unlocks something in you. And that feeling for a lot of people can be scary, but that's part of the exhilaration, right? It's part of the draw, the allure, right? Is to test yourself a little bit. That's the kind of outfit we are.
Amigo, you getting up?
The dogs are everything, right? That's why I do what I do.
While my mom was growing up in parks all over Alberta, she was exposed to, the dog sled scene, which was used in a traditional way, but she just fell in love with it. And then, she eventually got her own dogs, and she started her career in racing. And so I think it was her early 20s. My mom had a hilarious metallic blue Trans Am, had the Firebird painted on the hood, and she had her dog sled tied to the roof and had like 6 sled dogs jammed into this car, and that's how she got to her races. She wasn't super keen on the competition part of it, and decided that recreational dog sledding was a lot more fun. She wasn't on a time clock, she could just explore and do her thing. And so her and my dad met in the late 70s. My grandfather's career finished in Bow Valley Provincial Park, which is the closest town is Canmore. So my dad had moved out here from the East Coast to go to university in Calgary, and he had met my mom out here on a ski trip, and they fell in love and they got married. So she was out running her dogs one day, and there was a couple, I think she said they were from the UK, and they were here on vacation visiting Banff, but had come to Canmore to explore, and they saw her running her dog team, and they offered a little bit of financial compensation to go for a ride. And that's kind of when my mom's light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, really cool. Maybe I should kind of look into this a little bit. My dad had a couple Alaskan Malamutes. My mom had a team of 6 Siberian Huskies, and they would just go out exploring and running their dogs right here from the town of Canmore. And back in those days, you could do that. You could run your dog team downtown. Where we have our office was also strategically done. You're in the core of downtown Canmore, so it's got that really fun, funky, authentic vibe. When you finish your tour and you walk into the office and it's clean, there's a place to sit, we have all the equipment people could need.
We greet everybody when they walk in, we go over what paperwork we need to. I prefer the customer service down here at the office. This is my forte. I love being the first point of contact, and literally we're the last point of contact as well. What am I going to expect today? Well, this is what you're going to expect today. You're going to meet here. That's get-go. You're coming here.
If your luggage didn't show, we've got insulated jackets and snow pants. We use North Face rental equipment. Sorel Glacier boots, we've been using those for decades now. I mean, man, if your feet get cold in those, there's no helping you.
We prepare everybody as well as we can, step by step, so that everybody pretty much has an idea of what's going to happen. And then once everybody arrives, we're going to go up in the bus. So the bus ride's actually pretty epic too. It's beautiful scenery. And then what they're going to expect when they get off. I like to think that they leave here going to the bus right out of the gate that, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing.
I don't know how to describe it, but there was that one point in the middle of the night, there was like coyotes way out into the distance. And everybody's quiet. The dogs are quiet, we're all quiet, we're listening. We're like trying to figure out, okay, how close are they? How far away are they? It's just like there's this little, I don't know, strangeness to what we're doing out here.
Yeah, I'm Jen. This is
Neil.
Neil. We're both from Atlanta, Georgia. We actually came to Banff 5 years ago and got married here out in Kananaskis. But before that, we kind of took all of our friends and family skiing and dog sledding. And so we did the Powder Hound Express tour with about 30 of our friends and family members. So it seemed kind of special to kind of come back, do it again, and do the a bit more extreme version of things because we loved it so much the first time.
Extreme version of it. That's a good way to put it.
When you hop on a dog team and you've been given an instruction and you go out and you realize like, oh my God, I'm actually doing this. I'm in charge of this furry rocket ship. You come out of the starting chute, you go down the trail for a few minutes, you make your first stop. Man, the look on these people's faces, even for somebody who's, seen snow before, they're just blown away.
So we work a lot in an office environment, we live in a city, and we also don't get snow hardly ever.
I mean, Georgia has outdoor stuff, but it's not nearly as remote as it is out here. It's just crazy to see. I mean, it seems almost fake.
Think about the last time you traveled without an engine. The last time you were in a remote part of the world where there was no cell reception. You were relying on the team, so the other people around you, the dogs, to get you where you needed to go. I mean, you're in the middle of the Canadian Rockies. Even if it's brutal conditions outside, it's real. It's a real dog sled experience.
I think most of the people that usually are working with that structure, like same type of hours, same monotony every day, they need to go out, they need to find themselves in the nature, find the wild aspect on themselves.
The majority of the time, I think there definitely has to be like a wake up, do something, get stuff done. Then every now and then, you can just go out in the middle of nowhere with no plans.
There's always going to be an element that may be scary to you or an unknown, but you'll figure it out on the way.
I think that's the most important job that we have as guides at Snowy Owl, is to give clients the reprieve from our current society.
We arrived there, like all the tents were already set up, like everything was, like camp was pristine, which was nice after a long day of dog sledding, to get there and not have to set up all your stuff.
But before all that, we even got to, we fed the dogs, we watered them, we got their harnesses off. We took them in and out of the little kennel thing a couple of times to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and it was cool to be a part of that too,
Yeah,
we were responsible for the dog,
Yeah.
getting it from the box to the line and, getting its harness on and stuff like that. So it was cool to have that level of responsibility, and, obviously they trusted us with that.
Yeah.
We're going to show you how to stay warm in your tent. We're going to give you all the tricks of the trade, but you're going to have to do it. Are you going to be tired? Oh yeah. Yeah. When you get back from any one of our tours, the ride home is pretty quiet. You're burning a ton of calories out there. Even if you're not actively running the dogs, most people haven't spent that much time out in sub-zero temperatures. And so the promise is the experience of a genuine, authentic Canadian winter activity. So having that kind of impact on people is definitely my favorite thing.
When guests come out on the tour, they see a very, very small part of our operation. When they arrive, the dogs are already in their harnesses, they're hooked up to their sleds, they're in the starting area and they're ready to go. We have a certain list of things we need to do. Big clean happens in the morning. We're doing our AM feed. We're loading our truck and trailers, ready for everything to come up. And then we have to load our dogs. So our kennel is separate from our area we do our tours in. We're working in a provincial park, so we can't leave everything up here. So we have to load our dogs up in our trailers and their teams and bring them up. So depending on the day, we could have 80 to 100 dogs up here. So all of that happens within 1 hour. So it's pretty impressive to see it happen sometimes. We then drive up, we set everything up, we get our sleds ready, we get our dogs out, we harness them up, we bring them down into the starting area. At that point, we're getting everything else ready for the day. So that involves the water prep we have to do because we soup our dogs between every tour. So we make sure that we're hydrating them. Then the guests arrive, then we run our tours.
Running for a sled dog is their most favorite thing in the world. Just like throwing a ball for a retriever or taking your short-haired pointer out to point or letting a border collie herd. That's their most favorite thing in the world. And so what's most important for us is making sure we're facilitating a pleasant environment for them while they're doing their favorite thing. So you are going to get some uphills and downhills and corners and bumps and go across bridges and then be on a frozen lake and the twists and the turns and the speed and the excitement, right? You know, when you're out on the trail for a longer period of time with your dog team, you build a relationship with them, man. You really get to know them. And our dogs ooze with personality.
So everything that is structured throughout the day, behind the scenes, I'm there making sure that everyone knows what they're doing. The dogs are on the correct teams. Little things the guests don't see as well. Behind every tour, we have a couple of guides on the snow machine cleaning the trail. And at the end of the day, we just have to do it all in reverse. We pack everything up, we go down. The kennel staff are giving out any medications that the dogs need. If there's any dog notes for the day, we're checking dogs out for any signs of soreness. And then, yeah, we pack everything up and we're in the next day. And we're ready to go again. With the work we put into caring for the dogs and looking for the dogs, again, the guests see one side of it. They see our guiding, but what they don't see is down at our kennel. So we have our kennel manager, Mackenzie, who does an amazing job with looking after the dogs.
When the guides go up to site, load up all the dogs for the day, and they're out to do their tours, I'm the one that stays back at the kennel and takes care of all the dogs that are on their days off, all of our retirees and our puppies. I do have some amazing kennel staff that help me with all the chores. As you can imagine, caring for 160 dogs takes a team effort.
Every day, we have to make new teams. So our dogs don't run in set teams. We find that the dogs, when they have different partners each day, they work better.
When Will designs these teams, he knows which dogs are able to run beside each other, who, you know, works phenomenal with this other dog as their counterpart.
You know, it's like being stuck in an office cubicle with the same person every day. You don't really want to be there, right?
So there's many factors to be taken into consideration when structuring the teams. It's never a situation where, oh, I found something that works, so I'm just going to keep doing that for the next 10, 15 years. It's constantly evolving, constantly developing, and we have to develop with that. We wouldn't be here without them, so we want to make sure that we're giving them the best of the best.
You know, being a guide to actually being part of the operations and deciding, you know, how we run our tours and how we treat the dogs is an amazing step. I love having that input and knowing that the dogs are healthy and happy and I'm part of that is really nice.
You know, again, coming back to having the genuine staff, having people who actually care to take the time and learn this stuff. And so you always want to have someone available, a professional who knows more than you. And that's where Dr. Becky comes in.
I didn't have any exposure beforehand. Obviously I grew up in Calgary, so I hear about people going out on these dog sled tours and things like that. When I found out that they are treated like family there, that's when I really connected with them. And I have so much respect for the fact that they go above and beyond. And that makes a huge difference. Like, you can tell that Jeremy cares a lot. Jeremy and Caitlin both run such a great team.
I can teach you how to be a musher. I can teach you how to look after dogs. I can teach you everything about medication. I can teach you everything, but I can't teach you love, respect, empathy, you have to come with that on your own. So the people who succeed here are people who are genuine in their love and affection for the dogs.
That's why I do what I do, is because I want to provide a level of care for them and quality of life for them, especially when they don't have a voice.
It's great to work for a company where the owners are so invested in the health and well-being of these dogs.
There are so many examples of where the sacrifice for the dog care has outweighed our need or desire. It wasn't new clothes, it was the dogs. You know, the dog care never changed. The standard always got better and higher. The bar continues to get set. So as we were growing up, litters of puppies were born under our beds. All the harnesses and blankets from the sleds would hang on our doors at night to dry. My friends loved coming over to our house because there's always like raw meat thawing out in the entryway and dog treats everywhere. And it was just, to me, it was a totally normal life.
They treat them like they're their own pets. And that's why I appreciate working with them, because I know that they actually care.
Something my grandfather always used to say was that we come from the land, right? So you have to respect it, and you have to give back to it. They lived at parks all over Alberta, and a lot of the information that they got about the area was from the Indigenous people living in that area, and they all still used to run dog teams. And so a lot of the exploration and a lot of the travel during the winter months was done by dog team. The perspective Snowy Owl takes with the dog sledding, for example, is that, you know, it's in our best interest to preserve the environment that we're operating our tours in, so that, you know, people can still experience the wilderness the way it was intended to be experienced. You know, when you come on a program with us, you are experiencing it the way it was done thousands of years ago. It is, and still today, the most ancient form of winter travel, and we aim to preserve it. I think finding your wild is like finding yourself, right? A lot of people, when you're out for adventure, you're testing yourself, right? You're kind of looking for yourself. Happy trails.